Hey everybody, welcome back to today's episode of Life West Bellevue campus. We're doing a podcast with Dr. Danielle Stalp here. And we're going to be talking about what she does and how she communicates. And Dr. Danielle, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do? A little bit about NUCCA as well.
Okay. I'm Dr. Danielle. I am a chiropractor here in Omaha, Nebraska. I do upper cervical, a technique called NUCCA. It's very unique to chiropractic because when you first hear about chiropractic, you don't think just adjusting one bone. You think getting adjusted throughout the whole spine. So what I'm doing is I'm actually correcting just the atlas. I don't touch any other bone in the body, but I'm using that one bone to correct the whole spine. And so it's a very unique approach, and which leads to a lot of communication tendencies that I need in the office to be able to help patients understand.
Okay. And just for everybody, so atlas is...
Oh, yes. Yes, so the atlas is the first bone in our neck. It is the one right under our skull. It is actually called the atlas because of the atlas statue that holds up the world. And so our head is the world, and then our atlas is holding it up. So that's how it got its name.
Yeah. And so this is a fairly unique way of doing chiropractic, or technique, I should say. And how do you have a lower table, right?
Yes.
So when patients are coming in, it looks a little different. So even if patients have been doing, say, diversified advanced and other chiropractic, when they come into your office, and it might look just different. How do you communicate to the patient why that is and why NUCCA and everything else?
Yes. So I have two different kind of people that come in. So first, the people that are actually seeking me out. So they have an issue. And so they're like, I've heard that upper cervical care helps with this. So I communicate to them slightly differently because they already have an idea of, I know I need something different than what I've been used to. So communicating with them is slightly different, but coming in on a patient that's like, they're first just hearing about it. They're like, I don't even know. They're just coming to my office to kind of see, is this something that could help them? The way I communicate is I'm very clear with them. How I start is I have people do a 30-minute consult with me. Everyone has to do it. It's a complimentary, so it's a completely free visit, but it's so that they can get heard, so I can hear them and what they have going on. And then that gives me an idea of how to actually communicate with them. And so then I can relate what I'm doing to what they have. So that's a huge, huge component to how I first start talking to patients. But then how I do it is I'm actually relating the spinal cord and the brainstem. That is like the area that I'm focusing on and why what I do works. So I communicate with them like our brain sits here. We have our brainstem and then our spinal cord that goes through our foramen magnum. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to line up all of the joints, but I'm lining up the holes versus the joints. So I tell them most chiropractors are looking to make mobility in the spine, which is what we need it. We need that. There's a time and place for everything. But what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to line up the canals so that we have the best functioning nervous system. And then I also tell them that our body communicates with our brain through that same area. And so if you haven't misinterrupted like upper cervical area, then we have all kinds of dysfunction. So if they have a migraine, we talk also about blood flow and how the blood flow that comes up our vertebral bodies can also be affected in that. And so I'm using all of the different points of this area of our body and then relating it to what they have. Yep. Does that make sense? Does that answer the, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's kind of how we start the conversation. Once they start care, I make sure that they know step by step what to expect. In the office, if people have been adjusted, I tell them like there's no twisting, cracking, or popping. The way that I adjust is very gentle. I'm giving them clues on like how I'm adjusting, what to be feeling, and how they may not feel a lot even when I'm adjusting. But then to wait till they stand up and then we get that reaction. So
yeah. So real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
So we mentioned all these techniques. And for people who are new, like who haven't been to a chiropractor before, as that was me 2 years ago,
yeah,
I didn't realize how many different techniques, specialties within chiropractic, I had no idea. And so when I mentioned diversified Gonstead, NUCCA is your specialty. These are all different techniques within the chiropractic field for our audience here.
Yeah, there's actually like 250 and growing or more of techniques.
Yeah.
And they're constantly evolving. And so more can pop out. So I was very floored by that when I first went to chiropractic school. Because even if you're in the chiropractic world, we have like a limited almost lens of what we know about chiropractic. And then now as you go to school, you're probably learning a lot more. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing for me. There's still things that people say to me. They're like, have you heard of this technique? And I'm like, no, but like, let me do some research. So yeah, they're constantly coming out. So don't ever feel intimidated to ask somebody in the field if they know something.
Yeah. I mean, here at Life West, I think in our core curriculum, we have at least 6 or maybe 8 different techniques. I forget.
Yeah.
I mean, we're learning with you. You're teaching us toggle recoil.
Yep. Which was the first upper cervical technique.
Yeah. And then we learned activator with you, which wasn't part of our core curriculum, but it was.
An added.
Yeah. And so those were both great. And to add on real quick before we move on, with things like activator, we do use instrument-based protocol and technique. So there's I'm guessing a whole slew of those. I guess you have integrator and other things too in that area.
Absolutely.
And along with that, since you're upper cervical and you're so focused on one area, do you do a lot of co-managing patients with other chiropractors, or
yes and
or
no?
Maybe more PTs or.
Oh yeah. So I co-treat with other providers more than other chiropractors. Not that I won't. Yeah. I do have some patients that do. They come to me from a full spine chiropractor, which means that they're adjusting from top down and can be head to toe, because we can also adjust extremities. Mm-hmm. So most of the time I have people, if they are seeing another chiropractor, I have them stop seeing them for about a month, just because I want to see what are we doing with NUCCA? How are we affecting the full spine? Because when I'm adjusting a patient from the top, I'm also trying to see, I want to make sure that their hips go level and their feet go even. So then they're walking around with a balanced spine. Yeah. That doesn't mean that they don't have subluxations in other places in their body, but I want to make sure that they're getting that balanced position. And so when I co-treat with another chiropractor, I say, hey, are you comfortable? Because obviously they're in the driver's seat, and I always tell them that. I'm just like the coach on the team, but you're the player. So I try to empower them to take care of, like, be on top of their care. Right. So I'm like, the way that I like to do it is you take a break for at least a month and see how we feel at that end of the month. And if you want to co-treat, have us co-treat, which I'm totally good with. I normally try to reach out and communicate with that chiropractor of like, hey, we're doing NUCCA. What were you doing before? Just so that we have that, we want that relationship so that we are doing what's best for our patient. And then I just ask that they don't adjust the neck up, which is normally okay. Most chiropractors understand. NUCCA is a specialty in that area, so they avoid it. Mm-hmm. I do actually have a client right now. So she actually has a disc bulge in her lower cervicals. It's between C6 and C7, so the bottom of our neck. So she has a disc bulge, and she's been doing distraction with a chiropractor. She's actually traveling about 3 hours to come see me and do NUCCA. And so he's on my list to call today to communicate with him of like, do we keep doing distraction? How are they positioning the distraction so that she's not becoming out of alignment just from the distraction? So it's mostly just an open communication between me and the other chiropractor or other provider. So I also do co-treat a lot with massage therapy, PT, OT. And most of the time, if I have a patient that is seeing a PT for a long time, or if it's somebody that I refer to, I have them come into my office and get care. And normally what we do is it's either a trade based, or it's something where like I even give them free care, because I'd rather them know kind of what to expect, how I educate. Yeah. And then they can, come to their client. And then if I have told them, hey, we don't try to be more structured, or you're going to sleep like this, it's going to help you hold your alignment. That provider now can also be hearing for those cues when the patient's saying, oh, I keep coming out of alignment after sleeping. And then they're like, oh, well, how are you waking up? So they can also help me with that education. So I normally try to get them under care. If they don't want a standard care, that's fine, but just so they can experience it and have that understanding is huge.
Okay. Yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah. And creating that network. So for us coming out of school soon, obviously we need to start building our networks before getting out of school. So where did you start with that? Is there something that you could give us advice that you wish you would have done maybe
sooner.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So when I first came out, I kind of went into networking kind of in general as networking with everybody. There's some really great networking groups out there like BNI, Centersphere in Omaha and the surrounding areas. And there's many others.
And these are just professional network with other
exactly.
professionals.
Yep. So that's where most people start, chambers. So what I found though is that I met a lot of like realtors and insurance people, and they're all great people. I love them. But I wasn't getting the referral network that I wanted. So what I did is I actually honed in on actually finding providers that are in the either holistic world or medical world. And then I've created my own group. So I host it in my office. It's once a month and it's completely free. It's in the afternoon. So I normally like bring snacks or we have something fun. We did like a holiday event because these people then become your referral group.
Yeah.
So right now we are about 15 to 18 people strong in the group and growing. And so people are very excited about it. I have like a nurse practitioner. We have massage therapy. We have like alternatives like Reiki and herbalism, and we have a brain specialist who is amazing. And so we, in this group, how we have set it up is that we have everyone come to the office. We pick a topic the month before and we talk about it. And so as providers, we talk about migraines and how do we each treat migraines because it's all different. And there's so many things that can help a patient with migraines. And so we all talk about this topic and how we like treat them specifically in our office. And then we can hear from others. And then be like, hey, I have this challenging client that, I'm doing this, this, and this. Like, how do you do it? Because I'm struggling with that. So not only can we help each other, but then I can know how, this other provider treats patients. And then I know their personality. So I'm better to even refer my patients to the best practitioner. So not only does it help me get referrals, but I'm also getting the best referrals then for my clients. So I'm creating this awesome network with these more holistic providers. I would be super open to obviously more like non-as holistic, like a normal MD. They're just less likely to want to come to a networking group. But that's how I've done it. And it's been a really big success. So going out and meeting those people, like go out and meet an acupuncturist, go out and like meet the dentist, the functional dentist, like those kind of people are just great contacts. And then just say, hey, I'm going to start this and people will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. It's very fun.
So let's say, like you mentioned, MDs and some other people who aren't in this area as much, the holistic area, et cetera. How do those conversations go when you're talking to somebody, maybe neurology or somebody like that? Do you get a lot of pushback, or like, how do you approach that to ensure that you're on the same page for your patient and you're getting the best for your patient?
Absolutely. So so a lot of the people that in like the MD world, the people that I know mostly talk to are pain specialists because those are the ones that are managing a lot of the migraines, and neurologists. So I do talk to them. So the way that I approach them is very scientifically, because they're used to that scientific world where like we're so used to. I don't want to say dumb it down, but I want to make it so that like I can explain it to a 5-year-old. And so then I have it's called a white sheet. And a white sheet is a paper that a lot of MDs will use that like summarizes like research and things like that. And so I kind of come with my white sheet, and the way that I approach them, first of all, if we don't have a shared patient, the way I approach them is, hey, I would love to be able to help some of your clients if medication is just like at a stop for them and they're still having migraines. And so how I approach it is, hey, if you notice that they have a head tilt, send them to me because that's something that I work with. And so on my white sheet, we talk about posture and how posture is affecting the neurology. And so I'm not trying to take their patients away from them. Obviously, we want to co-treat. And so I use that as an entry point. Hey, if you notice a head tilt, because they cannot do anything for a head tilt other than like, let me move your head, right? What I'm actually trying to do is actually get the body to correct it. And so I use that as my entry point of saying, hey, I would love to co-treat these patients with you if you're seeing it. And then I go from there. NUCCA has a lot of research, and we've done a lot of research. We have a migraine study, a blood pressure study, and we have a lot of other studies in the works, plus a lot of like case studies. So that's why I love NUCCA, is I can come with some of that research and be like, here, like not only am I doing this and I've seen clients get better, but like here's the research on it. And they normally appreciate that. Do I know if they read it or not? No. But a lot of my pain, like the migraine pain people, send me quite a few patients. because of that. And I can share my white sheet with you if you wanted to even share it with others.
Yeah, it'd be great to have examples just
exactly.
to see what it's like.
Exactly. And it's great enough to even I share it with clients.
Okay.
So yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit.
Absolutely.
Here. And so you mentioned migraines, and I know in your history, that's kind of how you got to chiropractic. In the first place, you mentioned that you tried to use other things. I know it's on your website.
Yep.
What is your website again?
UnityWellnessOmaha.com can get you there.
Okay. And so take us a little bit through that history, because I think it's important for people to know.
Absolutely. So I was a migraine sufferer from when I was 11 on. I tried everything. You do the traditional route, right? That's what you do. You go to the doctor. They thought it was blood sugar. So I was like that cool kid that got to leave class to get a snack. That didn't seem to help. I've had CTs, MRIs, like we just did it all. I ended up just being managed really by a Flexerol, which is a muscle relaxer, and then also just like a migraine medication as needed. A chiropractor helped me a ton. That was probably the biggest thing that helped me right away. So they helped manage them so that they weren't as frequent or as like intense.
Mm-hmm.
But I would still get about like 13 a month, which is quite a few. So then I learned like about diet and sleep and stress management, like the more holistic things to kind of approach, like kind of reducing your triggers. So that's what I did for the most of my life. I actually was put on Topamax, which actually was a daily medication because I was going off to college. And so my doctors were really concerned about me having migraines in that setting because it was going to be a little bit more stressful. So I went on this Topamax, which is a daily medication. It's still out there for migraines. It's actually a seizure medication, but it has some nasty side effects. And so I started losing weight. So normally you go to college and you gain the freshman 15. I lost the freshman 15. And so I just didn't have an appetite. And so I was sleeping all the time also. It makes you sleepy. So I came home on one of my breaks from college and my mom was like, no, like you're done. Like this is bad for you. I think I took like 2 or 3 naps that day. And I thought it was normal. I was like, I'm tired. I'm just going to lay down. My mom's like, no. And so she took me off of it. Well, we talked to our doctor. Obviously, consult your doctor, please. And then we came off of it and then I kind of just managed it. And then I went and I was thinking about school. I was going for dentistry. I did a neuropharmacology class and I was like, wow, I don't think I can do this. I don't want to prescribe medications. How it just messes with our brain is intense. So I really shifted gears and I was like, hey, what can I do? I love working with people. I want to be able to also own my own business, work with people and have like a healing craft. And so I was like, man, chiropractic should be the way. But I was used to just activator in a normal adjusting setting. So once I went to school, it was the right fit, right? You just know sometimes it clicks. Mm-hmm. And when I was in school is when I actually found NUCCA. And I thought it was the craziest thing in the world. I literally was like, I almost went and set out to like disprove it. Cause I was like, you guys are just nuts. There's no way you can adjust one bone and fix the whole body. Like, no way. Right. And I'm like, you just want me to look funny. Like that's kind of, I was like, you guys are just, I don't know. And so on my like quest to like be like, no, this doesn't work. I actually got adjusted by a NUCCA doctor in the field. And that first adjustment was wild. She's like, okay, pay attention to how you walk. And so I did. And then, so as soon as you get up, you don't feel a lot. Like it feels like you're getting your pulse taken right behind your ear. Mm-hmm. That's all the pressure you're feeling. But as soon as I got up and I walked, like my stride was just different. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Right. Mm-hmm. And then after being adjusted, I held for about 6 weeks, but I didn't have a migraine for my first 6 months of care. So you went from
yeah,
sorry, exactly. I went from like about 13 a month to 0. And think about it. You're in school right now too. I was in grad school. You know, you're still trying to have a social life. You're trying to do all of the things, learn chiropractic outside of, you're going to seminar. You're doing so much. And I look back and I was like, wow, I really you're abusing your body. You're not sleeping well. And so the fact that I didn't have a migraine was this, I was like, what is this? And so I dug in and I really tried to figure out what is going on, why, and I was sold. So, since first quarter of Palmer, I was in. So yeah, that's my story.
I'm assuming that this helps you connect with your patients.
Hugely. Well, the fact that I've had migraines, there's so many different symptoms with migraines that, because it's an invisible thing, you can't see it. So the fact that like I can relate to them of like the migraine hangover the next day, like you're not even functioning fully the next day. And I can relate to them and I can understand that feeling. It gives me a lot of empathy, and I think that they can feel that, and that's huge.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap things up here, let's see. It is something else that you could tell the students, communications wise. So we talked about building a network. Is there something else that you can touch on? And then after that, go ahead and once again, give your website and any social media, et cetera, that you'd like to pitch up.
Absolutely. I would be always practicing as a student, whether it is like an upper cervical technique or whatever technique that you are very drawn to. Try to start communicating it not only to your peers, but start talking to your friends about it, your family members. So start using more of a common language, because in school we can get like really heady, which is great. And you want some of that too. But start trying to also be practicing with the friends that aren't in chiropractic school, your family members. Really try to explain to them what you're doing and why you're doing it. Understanding the chiropractic philosophy and also how to explain that to patients, like they're to a patient-like person, would be very, very important. So that's what I would give my advice for students, especially because that was one thing that was the hardest shift into Trent, like into clinic, was how do I talk to somebody not in this world?
Yep.
Right? Because in student clinic, it's great. You have other students, but then you talk to the general population and they're like, what? You know?
Yes.
So you want to avoid that. So
Already
practicing now. Exactly. And there's still times my sister's like, where did you get that? I'm like, yeah, a book, probably. So, but yeah, you can always find me at my website. You can give us a call. We always do complimentary consults, as I said earlier. So if you're ever, or a student is interested in knowing more about NUCCA, NUCCA has a great network for students. Okay. We are always trying to build up our students. So you can always find that information at NUCCA.org, or my website, as I said, is unitywellnessomaha.com.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll have you back then.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.